Good morning and welcome back to Bowl TV for the final day of competition here at the 2016 Prairie View Invitational at the International Training and Research Center in Arlington, Texas. I'm Aaron Smith alongside Matt Cannizzaro. This is our final traditional match before we determine the seeding for the Baker bracket coming up later today to determine the champions here at the 2016 PVI. We're being joined by Vanderbilt. They're bowling the missing team this week. To kick things off, Vanderbilt third overall in the rankings for total pinfall so far this week, looking to hold on to one of those top 4 spots. Have a record of 9-1 through the week. Over on 11-12, we have Nebraska taking on Texas Southern. Nebraska currently the last team in for the top 4. Looking to hold on to that spot and make it 4 years in a row to claim the title here at the Prairie View Invitational. We'll get you a recap of everything through 2 days of competition. Look at the format later today. So everyone hang tight and welcome back to Bowl TV. Thanks for joining us for the exciting conclusion here at the 2016 Prairie View Invitational. For the 3rd consecutive day, these teams are competing on a 38-foot oil pattern. Just a tad under 25 mils for the volume. Laid down by the Kegel Flex machine and Kegel Ice Oil. So these ladies and coaches are very familiar with the pattern, how it breaks down here at the ITRC. They've gotten the chance to bowl on each of the pairs a few times as well, so possibly know some of the little things that make each pair different here. The recap through 2 days of competition. Friday featured 25 Baker games, and we had 5 traditional games yesterday. Of course, this is our final traditional game today before we know the seeds for the Baker match play bracket. Stephen F. Austin moved into the lead overall for total pinfall. They're at 10,515 with 1 to go. Got a pretty sizable lead over the field. They're going to be in pretty good shape. Arkansas State about 100 pins back in second, 10,423. Vanderbilt, who we have on 9 and 10, sitting in third, 10,293. And as we mentioned, 3-time defending Prairie View A&M Invitational champion Nebraska, holding on to the 4th spot, 10,268. Really only one other team in the running to make a run here. Maryland Eastern Shore currently sitting in 5th at 10,213, so they're 55 pins back of Nebraska. Sam Houston State is in 6th, 10,085, so they would have to have a monster game and possibly some help from Maryland, Eastern Shore, Nebraska, and Vanderbilt to work their way into the top 4. As we mentioned, Vanderbilt is leading the way so far with a 9-1 record. The matches against the blind team don't count towards the win-loss totals for the overall tournament. So they're actually the only team with 10 matches in so far. Stephen F. Austin is at 8-1, Arkansas State 7-2, and Nebraska at 6-3 for the weekend. So those are kind of our top teams in the win-loss column as well. Individually, Arkansas State's Jordan Richard is pacing the field by a single pin over Vanderbilt's Robin Renslow, 1161 to 1160 for their 5 games yesterday. Sitting in third is Maryland Eastern Shore's Tashina Siras. She's at 1140 for her 5-game total. So the individual awards will be handed out at the end of competition today, along with, of course, our tournament champion being recognized. You can read all that with a brilliantly written article on bowl.com from Matt Cannizzaro coming up later today. Of course, the excitement kicks in almost immediately after this final game. We'll verify the totals, figure out where everyone is sitting in the standings. There will be no re-OL going into the Baker match play bracket. We'll have 2 rounds of that before we know our champions, and that final match will be featured right here live on Bowl TV. The approximate start time for that is 10:50 a.m. Eastern, 9:50 here locally in Arlington. So we'll actually have a brand new live stream set up for that, so we'll turn the cameras off for a quick second and transition to a new YouTube page here on youtube.com/BowlTV. We're hitting the halfway point of the last traditional match here at the 2016 Prairie View Invitational. Before we know the seeds for the Baker match play bracket. Question in the chat, what we mean by traditional game. This is just your standard 5-player team game. Part of the event also is contested in the Baker format, so it's kind of our way of distinguishing one from the other. Vanderbilt looking to keep their spot in the top 4. Right now being led by Robin Renslow, who's delivered the first 4 strikes. Nebraska with the slight advantage over Texas Southern through the halfway point. Bethany Headley, the left-hander, started with the front 4 before a spare here in the 5th. For Texas Southern, Jaden Takayesu leading the way. She'll be up on lane 12 in just a moment. Looking to make it 5 strikes in a row. As we kind of wrap up and get close to the bracket play, Matt Cannizzaro. How about some impressions of the competition we've seen so far, and yeah, how's the Prairie View Invitational experience been for you so far?
Well, as we've talked about throughout the weekend, we're looking at 10 of the top 25 teams in the country. And Nebraska, the 3-time defending champion here at the ITRC at this event. So a lot of good storylines out there. And for some of the teams, an interesting weekend to say the least. Stephen F. Austin currently leading, but a little bit of a roller coaster for the Lady Jacks. They jumped out to a huge lead in the Baker matches on Friday and struggled a little bit in matches 4 and 5, allowing Nebraska to go around and take the lead after day 1. But they battled back yesterday and regained the top spot. And just a couple of miscues there in match 3 and match 5 yesterday. And a couple of big games mixed in, and able to maintain a slight lead coming into the final game today. But no doubt a lot of motivation there for Stephen F. Austin after finishing as the runner-up at last year's NCAA championship, again, to Nebraska. So Nebraska clearly the team to beat overall, and some motivation to take down the Huskers. Then, of course, Arkansas State University, the number 3 team in the country, again, trying to get to that elite level and finish things off, get to that echelon with the Nebraskas and the Vanderbilts, and still a great program and progressively better, but not quite there yet, I don't think. And then, of course, Vanderbilt won this event in 2012, the inaugural year, and did not make the top 4 last year. So very motivated to get into that top bracket and have a chance to win this thing here in 2016. Then, of course, the rest of the field just very strong and motivated to get ready for the postseason, with each match for the weekend being very important to the overall win-loss records and just a chance at being in the top 8 when it's all time for heading to New Jersey in April. So a lot happening all at once here. Right now, the focus on this final match, but also getting enough pins to get into that top 4 brackets. And being a lazy Sunday morning, you can tell it's been a long weekend. Imagine doing this every weekend. They're on the road and practicing on Thursday, and then competing all day Friday and Saturday. Pretty long day yesterday with the 5 traditional games. You throw in 30 minutes of practice or so, and it adds up. Certainly these are athletes, and they are conditioned well. You can tell a little bit of sluggishness today in this traditional game early, which is good. A chance to get the blood pumping and get going, and as we get ready for the exciting match play portion of the event. Certainly a test of versatility at these NCAA events, a chance to do the 5-game Baker matches where total pins determines the winner. And then the traditional games where you have a star like a Robin Renslow or Jordan Richard you mentioned leading the way for their teams, catapulting their teams towards the top of the standings. And in that traditional format, there is that possibility for 1 or 2 players to get the job done. And then you come back to the best of 7 Baker matches where obviously what happens in the previous game is irrelevant. So it's just focusing on that one game and learning from what happened in the last game, and really being equalized with 2 players, each player throwing 2 shots. A totally different world, but we've seen a little bit of everything here, and it really makes it so that the most versatile team, in theory, at least, is in the top 4, and then whatever happens there, you have very equally capable teams battling it out for the trophy.
Some excellent insight there, Mr. Cannizzaro. And a quick question in the chat, a pretty good one here from James. Is there an age limit to bowl collegiately? And this is actually a pretty interesting topic considering NCAA versus USBC collegiate. For NCAA, the I don't want to say amateur status, but the ability to win money in bowling leagues and such comes into play for these student athletes. So on the NCAA side, which is just for the women right now, it's you're probably not going to see too many older players, I would say. You probably won't see folks in your mid to late 20s, whereas on the USBC collegiate side, the rules are a little bit not as strict. So for someone who still has their eligibility, it's open season. So myself, for instance, at the old age of 31, I've only bowled 1 year collegiately. I could technically go back to a school with the program. I'd still have 3 years of eligibility remaining.
I dare you.
Challenge accepted.
Get out there. Aaron Smith making a run at Collegiate Player of the Year for the 2016-2017 season. You heard it here.
Only if you direct my my video, Matt, to show off my sweet bowling skills. But yeah, that's kind of the differences there. But especially on the USBC collegiate side, it's seen more as a club sport, I guess, if you will. Although the excitement is just as big as it is here at the NCAA events. But a little bit tougher to keep your NCAA status throughout the course of the years, whether you're still bowling leagues or move up to the adult ranks and can win prize money. That's when it kind of gets that gray, shady area. So
it's a very nice segue, potentially, to what's coming up next for you collegiately. This is, of course, the first of 2 big collegiate events on Bowl TV this month, or in the next few weeks, I guess. It's the new month tomorrow. But the Hoosier Classic, run by Nick Hoagland, who at one point was among the oldest bowlers in collegiate bowling. I know he bowled part of his eligibility in my day, which was now 20 years ago. And he recently found his way to All-America status as a full-grown adult.
We've seen a few instances of that. One in particular that resonates close to home for me was with the Calumet program on the men's side. Ryan Gleghorn was probably in his late 20s when he won the Intercollegiate Team Championship's Most Valuable Player in 2010, his senior year, helping the Crimson Wave to a second-place finish. But yes, the Hoosier Classic, definitely one of the, or arguably the biggest event in the regular season of the USBC collegiate season. That'll be taking place next month. Granted, next month starts tomorrow, so we'll be more specific, but February 20th and 21st will be the days. You can check out the schedule at bowl.com/livestream.
But for now, it's all about the ladies here at the 2016 Prairie View A&M Invitational. We are live behind lanes 9 through 12 at the International Training and Research Center, part of the International Bowling Campus here in Arlington, Texas, the home of USBC, BPAA, Strike 10, and so many other great programs. And a fine facility here filled with the best bowlers around. 10 of the top 25 teams in the latest NCAA poll. And we are getting energized here, the crowd and the bowlers waking up a little bit here on Sunday as we get down towards the end of our traditional game. Coming up next is our best of 7 bracket match play, and that is when it will get loud and exciting, I'm sure. And we'll have all that for you live here on Bowl TV.
Taking a look at the live scoring, Maryland Eastern Shore is on lane 4 this game. They were the one team outside of the top 4 for the bracket who could really make a run. It's down about 55 to Nebraska. Right now they're in the 6th frame, a total of 2 opens, but only two doubles though so far for the Hawks. So they'll need a big finish if they want to make a run in the top 4. Once again, we talk about the top 4 for the bracket finals. Works a little bit differently with the NCAA as well. When you think of a bracket, you generally think if you lose, you find your way out of the bracket or into elimination bracket, contenders bracket, whatever you prefer to call it. But with the win-loss total being so important, each team needs to compete for the same amount of games for a weekend. So in that case, our first match will probably feature the 5 through 8 matchup. And then we'll have 1 through 4 over here on lanes 9 through 12 at the ITRC. But you have to be in the top 4 to actually have a chance to win the event. You can't improve your standing any. So if Stephen F. Austin holds on to the top spot, well, obviously the best they can do is first. That's where they'd like to be. But I guess a better example would be in the 5 through 8. So if Maryland Eastern Shore is unable to move into that top 4 and they stay number 5, if they win their sub-bracket, if you will, the best they can finish for the week is 5. However, the team that's in 8th place can actually go ahead and win that sub-bracket and move all the way up into 5th. So that's kind of the end of the week standings, but the win-loss is for the overall for the year.
A little bit of excitement here on lane 12. Coming to an end with a ring 10 pin.
Way to go, Matt.
See why you're trying to ignore that and let her do her thing.
Great run by Texas Southern's Jaden Takayasu. Starting with the front sixer for that ring 10 pin. She's kind of keeping Texas Southern in the match here. Had a few opens along the way. After a few early opens from Nebraska, they've kind of settled in here. Began to look very comfortable as they're hoping to make it 4 years in a row, hoisting the trophy here at the Prairie View.
So how many wins do you think it would take to count as a dynasty here at the Prairie View A&M Invitational?
Well, I think three-peats are usually the, you can start talking dynasty when you win 3 in a row, so. This Nebraska program led by the very tall Bill Straub, great assistant coach in Paul Klempa. As we mentioned, Friday and Saturday, always good to see Bill back after having some health issues during the 2014 season. He's back at the helm in 2015, led the Huskers not only the three-peat here at the Prairie View, but the NCAA national title as well. But yes, they've their continued success goes way back when, even before your collegiate days, which I know is probably when it all started. But But yes, the Nebraska program, whether it was before they became an NCAA program in 2004, have attracted some of the top names in the sport. Shannon Pluhowski, Deandra Asbady, more recently Liz Culkin, just to name a few.
10 national titles overall for the Husker women, and success on the men's side as well at the club level. I believe they won in 1996 prior to my arrival in the college ranks, led by Jeremy Sonnenfeld, who had just, or was on his way to bowling the first certified 900. Actually talked to our director of coaching yesterday, Stephen Padilla, a little bit. He was here on Friday in person and chatted via text yesterday. His wife bowled for Nebraska, Brenda Padilla, and just a very big supporter of Bill Straub and his techniques and what a great coach he is. And he's been at this a while. He knows what he's doing.
Certainly so, and talked about some of the players in the program over the years, and the next two players stepping up for the Cornhuskers, Jasmine Mason and Julia Bond, looking to add their names to that legacy. Mason has been a part of Junior Team USA for the past 2 seasons and took home some medals at the PAPCON Youth Championships in 2015. And Julia Bond was already a junior gold champion prior to her arrival with the Cornhuskers last year. She's been on Junior Team USA 3 times, and as a freshman during that title run last year, Bond was named the tournament's most outstanding bowler. Great shot by Mason to make it 4 in a row. See Julia Bond stepping up next, working on a spare.
Well, Mr. Smith, also just a little bit of drama here on our featured pairs, of course. Vanderbilt trying to hold off Nebraska, coming in with a 25-pin lead today. And should one of those two earn the number 4 seed, they'll take on the top qualifier. So, again, we mentioned the top 4 teams probably equally strong, but in that final bracket, number 1 will take on number 4, and 2 and 3 will battle it out. Winners will advance to the championship match. So perhaps a little different approach mentally when you're taking on the number 1 team that kind of ran away with things for a while. But pretty sure Vanderbilt at the same time will be pretty thrilled about getting into the top 4 after last year's little bit of disappointment here at the Prairie View.
John Williamson and Josie Ernest have put together a pretty solid program here, anchored by Robin Renslow, who earned her first team All-American status in the 2015 season, looking for a repeat performance for 2016. Just looking to convert the 278 after starting with 6 out of the first 7. No problem on the spare. But yes, I'm sure these teams know the numbers, know the difference, and are keeping an eye out on each other. As we mentioned, Maryland Eastern Shore is over on lanes 3 and 4. If you're checking the live scoring, lane 4 specifically, Arkansas State is on 1, and Stephen F. Austin is on 2.
Certainly not impossible for Arkansas State to go around Stephen F. Austin here. Probably a little less likely for Vanderbilt to catch up, but we've seen crazier things happen, I'm sure. We'll try to have those numbers for you if they're available quickly, or we can figure them out unofficially, and then we'll shut things down for a minute and come back with the bracket finals here at the ITRC.
Nebraska looking in good position here to take the win against Texas Southern, but as you mentioned, Matt, that number 3 and number 4 seed between them and Vanderbilt might come down to the 10th frame here, bowling right next to each other. Great 9th frame for Vanderbilt, all 5 strikes. Will it be enough to hold off the Huskers? Jasmine Mason getting some last-minute instruction from Coach Bill Straub and looking to make it 5 in a row. Katie Stark delivers an early double for Vanderbilt to kick things off in the 10th frame. She can get to 218. She'll be followed by another left-hander in the Commodores lineup, Amanda Fry.
Aaron, it looks like we might be done down here a bit before the teams on the other end of the center, so I don't know that we're going to stay on the air throughout. It might just have to be a surprise for all the folks tuning back in for the bracket portion of this event.
Everybody loves surprises, Matt.
We'll also have some more details, perhaps already calculated, about our individual winners. See if they have those immediately after, or we have to wait for the award presentation. But right now, 10th frame's underway here in our featured pairs. So far, 4 for 4 in the 10th for Vanderbilt.
Nebraska had one open in the 9th frame. It's only working on 2 strikes. One of them is a string of strikes, though, so can gain a few more pins that way. But definitely some momentum on the side of Vanderbilt. Looking to hold on to that number 3 spot. Open to kick things off for Nebraska from Bethany Headley. Still a nice game, 226. Brianna Zabarick stepping up next, working on 6 in a row for the Cornhuskers. Makes it 7 after a few early opens. Amanda Fry is going to get to 221. So the lefties up the top of the lineup for Vanderbilt, putting up some nice numbers to get things going. Vanderbilt's Kristen Kwa from Singapore makes it 3 in a row for herself to kick off the 10th. Commodores definitely taking advantage of that great 9th frame, building up a few doubles here. So even though their overall score a little bit behind Nebraska, they will have the advantage of working on strikes. Whereas the 3, 4, 5 bowlers for Nebraska, 2 spares and an open. Melanie Crawford delivers the double in the 10th to get to 208. Difference between Vanderbilt and Nebraska, just 25 pins coming into the final traditional game here at the 2016 Prairie View Invitational. Which is exactly the difference between the teams right now. But once again, Vandy working on strikes, sparing it open for Nebraska. Just to make things a little bit more interesting, Giselle Poss leaving the 2-4-10. First shot of the 10th. Giselle is part of the Puerto Rico's junior team and helped them capture a bronze medal in trios at the 2015 PAPCON Youth Championship. She's going to look to slide the 2 into the 10. But yeah, business has just picked up. Able to take the 2 for the team to finish at 152. So some big shots coming up here for Robin Renslow up on lane number 9.
Trying to hold off Nebraska here. Stay ahead of the Huskers going into the top 4.
Julia Bond matches the best Nebraska can get to is 1087. Vanderbilt can add 30 and get to 1063.
Difference coming in, 25 pins.
So that would be just enough. So Renslow can kind of save the 3 spot, mixes them up. Big shot for Bond, though. This may come down to the fill ball. Not anymore, though. She leaves the 310. So 1077 the max now for Nebraska. So they are not going to pass Vanderbilt in the overall pinfall. All 3 in the 10th for Robin Renslow to lead the Commodores with a 2:59 to give them 10:73 for the match. Nebraska is going to get the victory over Texas Southern to move to 7-3. They finish with 10:76, but will not be enough to catch Vanderbilt in the overall pinfall standings.
So Vandy 22 pins ahead of Nebraska. I just have to wait and see what Maryland Eastern Shore does down on lane 4. The Hawks were scores. 55 pins behind Nebraska coming in to this final game.
Final score over on 11-12, 1076 to 935, Nebraska over Texas Southern. So Mr. Canzaro, that's going to wrap up this segment of Bowl TV, but don't go too far. We're going to start up the broadcast once again as soon as we know the final standings and get ready for the bracket play.
Yeah, most matches now in the 9th or 10th frame, so we should be done here relatively quickly. And we'll get the seedings all set and get back to the starting lanes for the best of 7 matches. Do appreciate everybody tuning in. Don't go anywhere. Tell all your friends the exciting part, the conclusion of this year's Prairie View A&M Invitational coming up in just a few minutes. We'll be right back.